called him and said, "We want you to come to TCU." And so I told him, I said, "I'm in." And he seemed pretty excited, and then told me to wait 5 minutes and call Coach Patterson. So then I called Coach Patterson, and he seemed pretty excited.
You went over there Saturday, and when I talked to you that evening, you'd kind of mentioned that you kind of knew going in that TCU might be the place for you. You've been to other schools, you evaluated them, and you mentioned that TCU was feeling pretty good to you at the time. So how long did it take? I mean, was it seconds after Patterson told you that you had an offer? Did you take to tell him?
I actually was on Facebook writing a draft to Coach Patterson, trying to maybe convince him to kind of give me an offer, and then he ended up calling, and right away I just said.
Well, you've been high on TCU ever since I've known you, since last year, and how good of a feeling is that for you to have a chance to stay close to home and play for the Big 12? Has the reality hit you yet that you get to do that?
I mean, it's great. It's only 45 minutes away, so I mean, it won't take that long to get there, and friends and family come down and see me whenever. So.
Well, your story's been well told. You got the great size at 6'4", you're 200 pounds, you're a track guy. You ran a 4.5 last year at TCU's camp. What kind of ability do you think you have? What do you think your best strengths are as a quarterback?
I mean, throwing, number one, but I mean, I can also run, so that just adds a whole new element to the game. So.
This was your first year as a starter for you guys. What are the things that you think that you have to improve on going into next year?
We just need more team chemistry, and I think this year we're working a lot harder than we did last year, so we should be more successful than last year.
Now, of course, the Frogs have a pretty good presence in the NFL right now, especially at quarterback with Andy Dalton. Did you ever watch Andy, being a TCU fan and watching his game and how he performed at TCU?
I never really kept up with Andy Dalton. I kind of I never really followed TCU until just recently, like this past year. So I never followed Andy Dalton.
When did they really become the school that you wanted to be at? Did you know that's where you wanted to be?
Probably after me and my dad stopped there for just to say hey, and we saw Coach Sharp and walked around, and everyone was really friendly and just.
Was that last summer?
Mm-hmm.
So you had LSU, you had Kansas State, you had Baylor, you had Oklahoma State, all looking at you. Felt like they were pretty close to offering. Did they ever mention anything about staying patient and just seeing how it plays out for an offer?
Yeah, they just said that they needed to come out and see me in the spring, so they were just going to wait till then. But
I mean, what do you want to tell the Horned Frog fans as far as the type of player they're going to get on the field and the type of player they get off the field?
I just want to tell them that I'm going to work hard to be the best I can be for TCU.
Well, Coach, can you talk to me a little bit about Grayson's mentality on the field and the type of person he is off the field, real quick?
Well, sure. Off the field, has got a great personality, somebody that you'd want your daughter to date, He does a great job in the classroom. He's a model student there, makes basically all A's in the classroom, and just an upstanding citizen at all times. So just a very fine young man. On the field, he knows when he steps over that line that it's basically a war out there, and he does a great job competing and has the ability, all the physical tools that a quarterback needs, and I think TCU is going to be really happy to have him, and I think he's going to have a bright future ahead of him.
A lot of people are talking about his ceiling. I mean, he's a long way from it, it seems like, especially last year, his first year really as a quarterback. How high do you think his ceiling can be?
I think he's got a lot of potential, and it hadn't been maximized yet by any means, like you're saying. He's just got so much raw ability. He's got a big, strong arm. He can throw any kind of route that you want to. And this past year, he really developed a lot of touch on some the shorter balls, as well as our screen passes that he threw. The year before, he may have been drilling them through guys' hands that weren't quite ready for him. He developed a pretty good touch as a junior, and he's just going to keep getting better. So I think he's got a lot of upside potential to him.
How neat is it for you as a coach, as his coach, to, Decatur is Class 3A, but he's going to be going down the road, and he's going to be playing Big 12 football for TCU, and obviously you'll have a chance to drive down the road and see him play in person. How special is that for you to have that for him?
Well, I told him on the phone last night that that was one of the things I liked about it the most, was that he's going to be here close where we can still get a chance to watch him. And he said, that was huge for me, Coach, because it's only 45 minutes from home. And he enjoys being at home. He's a very family-oriented person, and they got a great family to support him at all times. So it's a huge factor that it's that close where the family and friends and the community can still be a part of what he's going to be doing after his high school career.
It seems like TCU made the right move offering this early and getting him on board, because it seemed like more teams were starting to come into the picture.
Well, I think there were a lot of teams interested, and maybe because he's coming from a 3A program, they may have been hesitant to make an offer. And I think that now that TCU has and he's committed, there's probably going to be some other schools even more interested and maybe try to even change his mind. But I think he's pretty well committed. He really enjoyed the visit there, and I think TCU is where his heart is and where he wants to be.